His third question, that one of his friends is insinuating that the hadith is not authentic, it's not perfect, we cannot trust the hadith, while the Quran we can trust. So he says, I do not know what to answer him. He says that hadith was compiled 200 years after the death of the Prophet ﷺ. And this alone shows how ignorant your friend is. Your friend does not even know the basics of Sunnah. He doesn't know when the hadith was recorded. The hadith was recorded at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. There were two competing in narrating the hadith. Abu Hurairah, may Allah be pleased with him, and Abdullah ibn Amr ibn al-As. Abu Hurairah says, I used to memorize the hadith, but Abdullah used to write more than me. Meaning that Abdullah used to write, Abu Hurairah used to memorize. So the writing was there. And there are a number of hadiths where the Prophet ﷺ ordered the companions to write a document for Abu Shah, for example, who came and said, O Prophet of Allah, he interrupted the Friday sermon and said, O Prophet of Allah, write to me. These things, what you're saying, there are so many. So the Prophet ordered them to write for him. And Ali ibn Abi Talib, may Allah be pleased with him, when they asked him, did the Prophet ﷺ give you and your lineage, your family, something special hidden from us? So he took a piece of paper from his holster and said, nothing except what is found in this piece of paper, and in it some instructions of the blood money, of the inheritance, and some hadiths written. And this was shared by the people, not only for him, but he had it written down. So what your friend is saying is totally absurd, and the hadith was written as early as, documented as the year 80 or 80 plus Hijrah, which had a lot of companions available. Abu Hanifa, may Allah have mercy on his soul, died, if I'm not mistaken, on the year 150. He died, and he compiled hadith. And on that year, Imam Shafi'i was born, and we know that he compiled also the hadith. Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal was before the year 200, and he compiled hadith. Dar al-Qutni, Imam al-Bukhari, and Imam Muslim, all of them were around or before these 200 years. And the companions, the tabi'een, the tabi'in were all over the place. So there is no need to argue with someone who's ignorant, who does not know the history, and who does not know the Quran. If this brother claims that the Quran is fine and we're okay with it, he's falsifying the Quran, because the Quran tells us to go and refer to the Prophet ﷺ. This is the Sunnah. Without the Sunnah, you cannot understand the Quran. Allah tells us in the Quran to pray. Does He tell us to pray in the Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, Maghrib and Isha, specifically or generally? Does He tell us that Fajr is 2 rak'ahs, Maghrib is 3, and the rest are 4? No. So where do we get this from? Where do we get the amount of zakat? Where do we get the lots of prohibitions, except from the Sunnah, and how things are done except in the Sunnah? And the list goes on and on.